The Galaxy S25 Ultra is officially here, and in today's video, I'm going to put it head to head against the iPhone 16 Pro Max to see which one of them is better. Now, both of these phones are the top flagships from two of the biggest rivals in the industry, Samsung versus Apple, and a lot of people might be wondering which phone is better. So today I'm going to compare everything about these phones from the design to the display, the operating system, AI, so that you can figure out what you should spend your money on. All right, now let's start things off by looking at the price. How much are you going to spend on each of these phones? Well, the Galaxy S25 Ultra starts off at $1299 USD, whereas the iPhone starts off at $1199 USD. So you are saving $100 on the iPhone, but you can actually get a better deal on the Samsung right now, because what Samsung does every year is offer a pre-order discount. So if you order the Galaxy S25 Ultra right now, you can get a free storage upgrade to a 512GB variant for the same $1299 price. Whereas on the iPhone, if you were to upgrade to a 512GB, that would run you $1,399. So now the tables turn and the Galaxy S25 Ultra is actually cheaper at that 512GB variant. And on top of that, Samsung also offers better trade-in value. So I put in my S24 Ultra and they were offering me $900 for this phone. And after my trade-in, the new Galaxy S25 Ultra would only run me $399 US, whereas on the Apple side, if you trade in an iPhone 15 Pro Max, they're only gonna offer you $650, which will bring the total price of a 16 Pro Max to $769 with that trade-in. That's $370 more expensive than the Ultra. Although I will say that the iPhone does retain its price better, so if you do plan to sell it eventually down the line, you will probably get a little bit more for your iPhone. So when it comes to the price, I do have to give the win to Samsung here. They just offer more in trade-in value. They have a lot more discounts throughout the year, and they even give you Samsung credits to spend towards other things. So your dollar is just gonna get a little bit more value. Now let's talk about the design and build quality. Now both of these phones have a 6.9-inch display and have a titanium frame. Samsung has the Corning Gorilla Armor 2 on the front, whereas the iPhone has a ceramic shield. But as far as the build quality goes, both of these phones feel absolutely premium in the hand. When you're holding them, they just both feel like very nice, expensive phones. You really can't pick a clear winner here, so I'm just gonna call it a tie between the iPhone and the Galaxy S25 Ultra. All right, now let's get into the displays. Both of these phones are rocking a 120Hz variable refresh rate. Now the Samsung has a 1320 by 1440p resolution with a 501 ppi, whereas the iPhone has a 2868 by 1320 resolution and a 460 ppi. So you do get a little bit more pixels per inch on the Samsung, but it's not something that your eye is going to notice. Both of these screens are going to look sharp when you're using them, but something that you will notice is the brightness. The Galaxy S25 Ultra has a peak brightness of 2600 nits, whereas the iPhone has a peak brightness of 2000 nits. So if you're using your phone outside in bright daylight, you are able to push that screen a little bit brighter on the Galaxy Ultra, which is going to make it a little bit easier to use in really bright daylight. The Samsung also gives you more options in terms of how you want the screen to look. You can go into the display settings and change between vivid and natural. So if you're somebody who does editing or like photo work on your Galaxy phone, you can set it to natural to get the most accurate colors. But if you like really punchy, saturated colors, you can change it to vivid, and you can even play with all of the RGB values independently. Now when it comes to the display, we can't overlook the fact that the Galaxy phone has a small hole punch cutout, whereas the iPhone has a large pill-shaped cutout, and that's going to take up a lot of space out of your display when you're consuming media. So if you like to watch YouTube videos or Netflix on your phone or even game, it definitely intrudes into the display and does not give you as good of an experience when consuming media. Now there's also a new feature that came to the Galaxy S25 Ultra called the Pro Scaler, and essentially what it does is when you put your phone's display into QHD+, it will upscale the display to make it even more sharp, giving you a better viewing experience. So anything that you're viewing on your phone, that Pro Scaler feature will upscale that video to make it look better. And lastly, on the Galaxy phone, we of course have that anti-reflective display, which makes the phone look absolutely amazing. No matter what you're doing on your phone, you're doing it through the screen. You're constantly looking at the screen, and the fact that it has that anti-reflective coating just makes the experience so much nicer, and it is definitely noticeable. So when it comes to the display, I definitely got to give the win to the Galaxy phone. It is just better than the iPhone in every way. All right, now let's talk about performance and specs. Now the Galaxy S25 Ultra is rocking the brand new Galaxy Snapdragon 8 Elite, whereas the iPhone has the A18 chip. The Galaxy has 12GB of RAM and the iPhone has 8GB of RAM. Now when it comes to the benchmarks, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. Both of these phones are fully capable to do whatever you want. But if you care, the Samsung phone scores a little bit higher on multi-core tasks and the iPhone scores a little bit higher on the single core tasks. But when it comes to the day-to-day usage, both of these phones are going to be able to do whatever it is that you need them to do. They're going to be just fine when it comes to gaming. They're going to be just fine when it comes to whatever applications that you install, and they're going to be able to do everything that you need from them. But where I have to give the lead to the Samsung is that the Samsung actually offers you a lot more that you can do with all of that power. For example, you can do split screen multitasking. You can have two applications running at the same time, and you can interact with both of them. You can even bring up a third application as a pop-up view on top of those applications. So you got three things running at the same time. You also have Samsung DeX, which is one of the most underrated features that people just don't talk about. You can connect this phone to a monitor, to a keyboard, and to a mouse, and just have an entire workstation powered by this phone. So even though the chips on these phones are pretty much neck and neck and they can do everything that you need them to do, I have to give this point to Samsung just because Samsung actually allows you to utilize that power of that chip a little bit better than the iPhone. All right, now let's talk about AI, Samsung's favorite buzzword. I think they used the phrase AI like 72 times in the Impact event, which is absolutely insane. But nonetheless, on the Galaxy phone, we have Galaxy AI, and on the iPhone, we have Apple Intelligence. Now, Samsung has been doing AI longer than iPhone. They introduced it last year on the Galaxy S24 Ultra that I have right here, whereas iPhone just rolled it out recently on their iOS 18 updates. So they're pretty much a year behind, and over that year, Samsung has really had a lot of time to perfect it and tweak it and make it much better. And there's just a lot more features when it comes to AI. We have Circle to Search, we have Drawing Assist, we have Live Translate. Audio Eraser is a new one where it will remove background noises from any videos that you take. So if you're at a wedding and an airplane flies over, you can just suppress the sound of that airplane so that your video isn't completely ruined. And I know you're probably tired of hearing about AI all the time, so I'm just gonna end it there and just give the point to Samsung because they're clearly ahead of the game when it comes to AI compared to Apple. All right, next let's talk about the cameras. So the Galaxy S25 Ultra has 4 cameras, whereas the iPhone 16 Pro Max has 3 cameras. On the Galaxy, we get a new 50 megapixel ultra-wide camera, 200 megapixel main camera, a 50 megapixel 5x optical telephoto camera, and a 10 megapixel 3x camera. On the iPhone, we have a 48 megapixel ultra-wide, a 48 megapixel Fusion main camera, and a 10 megapixel 5x telephoto. Now when it comes to photos, I definitely have to give the advantage to Samsung here for those 200 megapixel capabilities, because if you're ever going to be really zooming into a picture or you're going to print one and maybe blow it up to a canvas, you're just going to have a lot more data to work with, and those pictures are going to look much better. As far as video goes, both of these phones are able to shoot at 4K 120, but the Samsung can go up to 8K 30 FPS. Although you're probably never actually going to need that, but it is still nice to have that option. But I do have to give the point to iPhone when it comes to videos. Their video capabilities have just always been amazing. They shoot some of the best videos out there out of any phone. And if you're big into social media, that's another point for iPhone because their social media optimization is by far better than any Android out there. But the Samsung does offer more when it comes to the software capabilities of these phones. We have Expert RAW, Pro Video, Night Mode, Astrophotography, Hyperlapse, Dual Recording, Single Take. There's just a lot more that you can actually do with these cameras. Now, I would call this a tie, but I really don't want to because I do want to pick a winner for this category, and I'm gonna have to go with iPhone just because I think that social media optimization has a much larger use case. I think that's something that a lot more people benefit from than the software features that you get within the camera app on the Galaxy phone. So the winner for the camera category is very slightly going to the iPhone. All right, next we're talking battery life. The Galaxy S25 Ultra has a 5000 milliamp battery and the iPhone has a 4685 milliamp battery. So when it comes to the capacity, the Samsung does have a little bit of a bigger battery, but battery life these days doesn't really rely as much on the battery size as it does on the efficiency of the chip and the optimization within these phones. And both of these phones have the latest and greatest processors in there. And when it comes to the battery, these are easily one-day phones. You're never gonna kill the battery within a day unless you're just literally streaming a video for 24 hours. Now the Galaxy S25 Ultra has 45 watt fast charging and 15 watt wireless charging, and the iPhone has 30 watt charging and 25 watt MagSafe wireless charging. So the Galaxy does charge a little bit faster on a cable, whereas the iPhone does charge a little bit faster wirelessly. Also, MagSafe I think is one of the most underrated iPhone features. I think it's absolutely amazing. You can stick wireless chargers onto here, you can stick wallets or other accessories, or you can just put it up on a stand. I think MagSafe is a really amazing feature, and I wish we got it here on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but maybe next year. But even though we do not have Qi 2 charging, the Galaxy S25 Ultra does have wireless power share, so you can take any other device like your headphones or even another iPhone, place it on the back of your Galaxy phone, and it will wirelessly charge that other device. Now, when it comes to battery life, I'm gonna call this one a tie. Both phones have easily 1-day batteries. You're not gonna have any issues. iPhone does have MagSafe, but the Galaxy phone does have wireless power share. So I feel like it's kind of a toss-up. So I'm just gonna call it a tie. Now, when it comes to the operating system, we got Android 15 with the One UI 7 skin on the Galaxy phone and iOS 18 on the iPhone. And with iOS 18, we do get a little bit more customizability on the iPhone. So we can do things like move our icons around, place them wherever we want on our screen, and even change the color of them. So iPhone is catching up to Android when it comes to customizability. But when it comes to more capable, deeper customizability, the Galaxy phone just absolutely destroys the iPhone. There's no comparison, especially with the Good Luck application. It just takes customizability to a whole nother level. You can do things like put your notification history on your lock screen. You can map swipe gestures to different actions. So if I swipe down diagonally, it'll take a screenshot. If I swipe down diagonally and hold it a little bit, it'll take a video recording. If I swipe up diagonally, it'll open up my Play Store. And you can map these swipe gestures to almost any action or any application. It's pretty incredible. There's also a double back tap and a triple back tap action. And I can even map my power button when I long press it to turn on and off my flashlight. You can even make your phone take you to a certain website or open up a specific application depending on which finger you unlock your phone with. It's absolutely crazy. There's just so much you can do with the Good Luck application. And if you guys want me to make a video about some of my favorite Good Luck features, let me know in the comments below. The Galaxy S25 Ultra also has an S Pen, which is something I use on a daily basis because I'm a very forgetful person. And if something isn't in front of me, I'm pretty much gonna forget about it. So what I can do with the S Pen is just write a note on my screen and then pin it to my always on display. And then every time I pick up my phone, I will see my note there on my always on display and be reminded that I need to do something. And I think it goes without saying that when it comes to the operating system, there's just so much more that you can do with your phone on Android. So I'm giving the win to Samsung for this category. All right, now finally, let's talk about biometrics. Now on the iPhone, we have Face ID, and on the Galaxy phone, we have Face Unlock and a finger scanner. Now Face ID on the iPhone is a lot more secure than Face Unlock on the Android. And of course, the trade-off though is that you have all of those sensors, so you get that big pill-shaped cutout, which kind of intrudes into your display. But on the Android, we also have a fingerprint scanner, which is, in my opinion, the best biometric that you can put on a phone because A, it's extremely secure just as much as Face ID, and B, it does not disrupt your display. It just sits underneath your screen completely hidden, and it's extremely reliable and very fast. And it's just so much easier to use. You don't have to pick up your phone and look at it every time you want to unlock your phone. You can just place your finger on your phone, it will unlock, and you can go about your day. So the point here, again, is gonna go to Samsung. If you just picked up a brand new Galaxy S25 Ultra, check out this video for the first 25 things that you need to do on your brand new phone. But that's gonna do it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.